Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking NFL action, rapid fire picks. We're going to go down the line and hopefully give you guys a bunch of winners. Just a little reminder, if you want 20% off the entire site at picksandparlays.net, just use the code VEGAS, VEGAS. We've got Craig Trapp joining us for this segment, as always. We're starting with Ravens at Colts. The Ravens are favored -2.5. The total is 47. Both these teams are 5-2. So, Craig, what's the play here?
Well, what do they say? Not all records are what they seem. I don't think you can say when the Ravens' two losses are to the best two teams in football, in my opinion. You lost to the Chiefs, and then last week you lost at the goal line, basically on fourth down, to, I think, the best and most complete team in football, the Pittsburgh Steelers. At least right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the most complete team. And then you look at the Colts, and they have basically one good win. They've beat up on some really bad teams, including the Lions last week. So I think this line should be way bigger. And I think if the Ravens would have completed that past the end zone, I think this would be -4, -5, maybe even -6. So give me the Ravens at -2. I just think the line is clearly off here. The Ravens are clearly the better team. And in a bounce back spot, I like the Ravens to win and win pretty easily here.
I think the line is a little different just because the Ravens have lost a lot of their defensive players to the COVID list, and they just lost their all-pro left tackle. However, I think this is a Ravens team that still is very good, and you said it, we're on the same page. Their schedule has been very different from the Colts. The Colts have put up really good numbers, but against bad teams. And so I like the better 5-2 team here, the Ravens -2.5. Moving on to the Panthers and the Chiefs. Chiefs -10.5. The total is 52.5. Craig, who do you like here?
Well, Chiefs 6-2 against the spread on the year, but double digits in the NFL, even with the Chiefs, as good as they've been, and off that key number. It opened at 10, now at 10.5, and in most spots. There are some still 10s out there if you search around. But to me, I had to go towards the total here. I think it's safer. The Carolina Panthers look like they'll get back their star running back, Christian McCaffrey, and the Panthers need to find a way to get some bigger chunk plays. It's just they've really struggled to score in what I would call quick scores where they can score 30, 40-yard plus touchdowns. And I think Christian McCaffrey will give them that threat as they can go play action pass. I like the over 52.5 as I think the Chiefs score big again. And I think the Panthers will do their part as well.
Yeah, 10.5 points is a lot to lay in the NFL, but this Chiefs team has been favored by double digits quite a few times this season, and they've been really good against the number. 6-2 against the spread. I'm continuing to ride that train. If anybody can cover a double-digit spread, it's certainly the Chiefs with that offense and Patrick Mahomes. So let's go to the Bears and the Titans. Titans -6, total of 46 and a hook. The Titans have not been great at covering numbers this season. The Bears are a surprising team that have been a lot better at covering numbers. So who do you like here?
Well, when you looked at going back, I think it's 17 games now, maybe even 18 with Tannehill at the quarterback, at the starting quarterback spot for Tennessee. They've been an over machine. But I think one thing they've found is when they're scoring these touchdowns quicker is that their defense has been put on the field a lot, and their defense is really bad, especially their pass rush. They cut Beasley this week. They might as well cut Clowney because he hasn't done anything for him. But they've got to find a way to keep that defense off the field. So I think they're going to play more ball control. And against a Bears team that their defense is very, very good, I think this one is going to go under the 46.5. I just think they have to play slower if you're Tennessee to protect that defense. And hey, the Bears don't score easy as well, so let's take the under.
Yeah, for against my better judgment, probably I'm going to go with the Titans in this one to cover that number. Yeah, they've not been a great team against the spread, but I think the Titans can run the ball here. The Bears' defense is really good, but sometimes their numbers have not been that good when it comes to defending the run. And I think Derrick Henry continues his torrid stretch of 100-yard rushing games here. It's something like 12 100-yard rushing games in his last 17, including the postseason. I think Derrick Henry runs all over the Bears at home. Let's go Titans -6. Moving on to the Raiders and Chargers. This game is a pick'em. The total is 52. Raiders 4-3 straight up and against the number. Chargers are 2-5. But 4-2-1, and even better for some people against the number, depending on what number you had in some of those games. So, Craig, who do you like?
Let's remember there's a little hidden here. Remember, the Raiders wanted to be the other LA team, and they were denied, and thus they moved to Nevada and Las Vegas. But there's a lot of fans still in Los Angeles, so it's just too bad that this isn't a game, where we see fans, because I think the Raiders might have a home field edge in
Yeah.
LA against the Chargers. So, but I just still think this Las Vegas team is very, very underrated. And I think they're clearly the better team here. Rodgers and Herbert have been really impressive, but they've also let some big leads go. I just think they're so banged up on the offensive line, Chelsea. I'm going to take the Raiders here plus the 1 point. I think the Raiders win outright, and I think hopefully Anthony Lynn doesn't blow another double-digit lead. Let's just say that.
It's absolutely wild. The Chargers have blown a 16-point or more lead in 4 straight games. There's no way that can continue, right? So I'm taking the Chargers. I think it's a good spot for the Chargers. Raiders 31st in defensive efficiency, and Justin Herbert has been really good for the Chargers. I think, and also the Raiders are coming off a tough spot, coming off that really tough game in Cleveland against the Elements. It's a second straight road game for them. Let's go Chargers. Moving on to the Saints and the Bucks, a good one here. Bucks minus 4.5, total of 51.5 if it has not moved already. But one of the marquee matchups of the week in the NFC South, especially. So, Craig, in this big game, who do you like?
Yeah, remember, rematch from week one. The
Yep.
Saints got the better of them in week one. Tampa Bay did not look good in that matchup. Since then, we've seen Tampa Bay's defense really come along. And so this is one of those really good matchups. And I think a lot of people maybe are going to be jumping off Tampa Bay bandwagon because they were caught looking ahead last on Monday Night Football. So I think a lot of people maybe think that maybe Tampa Bay isn't as good, but Tampa Bay is really, really good. I think they're the play here. I also think the over is the play. I think the Saints have to find a way to score easier. They just, and I don't want to blame Drew Brees because I'm a big Drew Brees fan that his arm isn't strong enough, but they just haven't had a lot of down the field passing. I think this week maybe they find some of that, and Tampa Bay is going to do their fair share of scoring. So I like the over, but I don't know, maybe Tampa Bay is my better play at -4, but I like both the over and Tampa Bay in this one.
Yeah, I'm on the over train here because Antonio Brown is supposed to be making his heralded debut for the Bucks, and not only is he a great weapon, obviously on the field, but he can be a decoy. So the other receivers get less defensive attention with Antonio Brown because he commands respect from that defense. Yes, the Bucks have a really good defense, but we saw Daniel Jones moving the chains, dinking and dunking his way down the field with some short slant routes. I think Drew Brees is the king of that, and I think he can at least move the ball enough to push this over the total of 51.5. That's going to do it for our NFL Rapid Fire segment. As always, thanks for tuning in, and best of luck to everyone betting this weekend.